Hello everyone, my name is Sumit. Today we will discuss about the placebo, the cornerstone and 1902 Biological Control Act as well as Tuskegee experiment. First of all, we will talk about the placebo, the cornerstone. In 1961, Henry K. Beecher concluded that surgeons he categorized as enthusiasts rely their patients' chest pain and heart problem more than septic surgeon. In 1961, Walter Kennedy introduced the word placebo to refer to a neutral substance that creates harmful effects in a patient who takes it. Beginning in the 1960s, the placebo effect became widely recognized and placebo-controlled trials become the norm in the approval of new medications. Dylan Evans argues that placebo are linked with the activation of the acute phase response, so will work only on subjective conditions such as pain, swelling, stomach ulcers, depression and anxiety that are linked to this. A 2001 systematic review of clinical trials concluded that there was no evidence of clinically important effects except perhaps in the treatment of pain and the continuous subjective outcomes. The authors later published a review with the similar conclusion. Most studies have attributed the difference from baseline until the end of the trial to the placebo effect, but the reviewers examined studies which had both placebo and the untreated groups in order to distinguish the placebo effect from the natural progression of the disease. Placebo observation differ between individuals. In the 1950s, there was a considerable research to find whether there was a specific personality to those that respond to the placebos. The findings could not be replicated and it is not thought to have no effect. The word obecal, placebo spelled backwards, was coined by an Australian doctor in 1998 when he recognized the need for the freely available placebo. The word is sometimes used to make the use of the prescription of fake medicine less obvious to the patient. It has been suggested that a distinction exists between the placebo effect, which applies to a group, and the placebo response, which is individual. Then we will talk about the 1902 Biological Controls Act. When the large scale production of vaccines and antitoxin serum begins in the late 19th century, the United States had no government regulation on biological products. In 1901, a 5-year-old girl died of the tetanus in St. Louis after being given a diphtheria antitoxin. Investigation found that the St. Louis Board of Health produced the contaminated antitoxin using the blood of horse infected with the tetanus. While the infected horse, Jim, was killed, the Board of Health continued to use the serum to treat diphtheria. It was later discovered that the 12 other children had died from the same contaminated antitoxin serum in St. Louis. That same year, 9 children in Camden, New Jersey died from the contaminated smallpox vaccine. This incident led to the Hygienic Laboratory and the Medical Society of the District of Columbia to, propose a law regulating the production of biological products. On July 1, 1902, Congress passed the Biological Control Act. Then we will talk about the Tuskegee experiment. Before that, we will discuss about the one thing. One of the most infamous United States cases of questionable medicine ethics in the 20th century was the Tuskegee syphilis study. The study took place in Tuskegee, Alabama, and was supported by the U.S. Public Health Service in partnership with the Tuskegee Institute. The study began in 1932 when syphilis was a widespread problem and there was no safe and effective treatment. The study was designed to measure the progression of the untreated syphilis. By 1947, penicillin had been shown to be an effective cure for the early syphilis and was becoming widely used to treat the disease. Its use in later syphilis, however, was still unclear. Study directors continued the study and did not offer the participant treatment with the penicillin. This is debated, and some have found that penicillin was given to many of the subjects. Then Tuskegee experiment in 1960s, Peter Buxton sent a letter to the CDC who controlled the study expressing concern about the ethics of letting hundreds of black men die of a disease that could be cured. The CDC asserted that it needed to continue the study until all of the men had died. In 1972, Buxton went to the mainstream press, causing a public outcry. As a result, the program was terminated. A lawsuit brought those affected $9 million, and Congress created a commission empowered to write regulation to deter such abuse from occurring in the future. On 16 May 1997, thanks to the efforts of the Tuskegee Syphilis Study Legacy Committee formed in 1994, survivors of the study were invited to the White House to be present when President Bill Clinton apologized on behalf of the United States government for the study. Syphilis experiments were also carried out in Guatemala from 1946 to 1948. They were United States sponsored human experiments conducted during the government of John Joseph Arevalo with the cooperation of some Guatemalan health minister and the officials. Doctors infected soldiers, prisoners, and mental patients with the syphilis and other sexual transmitted disease without the informed consent of the subject and then treated them with the antibiotics. In October 2010, the US formally apologized to Guatemala for the conducting this experiment. Thank you.